What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you another video. Today I wanted to do a video on something I've been meaning to do for a while, which is the Power Rangers Dino Charge episode 15 review that I've been wanting to do, but I haven't been able to for a while just because I've been busy with other things. Anyway, and also because of the fact that my computer hasn't working for a while. So I finally got a new computer, and that's all solved. So and everything's moving a lot faster. So anyway, I wanted to do this review. The episode is entitled Rise of a Ranger, and it was originally called Royal Sacrifice, but the name was changed at one point. I don't know exactly why. It might have been due to the fact that where the show was originally shown, I believe it was like in France or whatever, they might have changed the name when they put it over in America, and I don't know. It's just what they decided to do. Anyway, so the episodes is a really great one, and I was really unhappy to find out that it was one because it actually was pretty decent, and I wish I put it out sooner. That's why I was kind of disappointed. So the thing is that the episode starts off with us seeing a construction vehicle digging around and eventually finding this rock that's shimmering and has a glow, which presumably is an energem. As you may know already, the Graphite Ranger is revealed in this episode. So, following up with that rock, we end up seeing Prince Philip, a character we haven't seen in a while, training against a robot in his castle. Sorry about that. So the thing is that Prince Philip is training against this robot, which he's doing pretty well against, and it's a real controlled robot. And the thing is that following this, we see this woman who comes in saying that they found something that the prince has been looking for. So at that point, he's interested and happy, and he goes to see what it is. And it looks like this fossil that looks like a dinosaur fossil. And so at that point, he takes out some tools and he begins to chip away at it and reveal what is actually the graphite energem, which he then takes out and holds in front of him. And at that point, it shows the energem, and it's really exciting. And at that point, he decides to try and say, it's morphing time or unleash the power. And the thing is that, as we know, just by doing that doesn't mean much. Now, one thing I'm not sure if it came before this or after this was the whole entire No, actually, yes, it was after this. Yeah, so he doesn't. So technically, he hasn't bonded with the energem. So obviously, it doesn't mean anything when he does that. So really, he's just screaming to the world. So at that point, we end up seeing we end up seeing the spaceship it's like Sledge's spaceship, where we see Fury is still around. He hasn't died or disappeared. He's just doing chores or whatever for Sledge. And at one point, Poisandra is like, barking orders at him, and eventually she gets captured by one of the creatures in the cells of Sledge's prison, and by their tentacles. At that point, Fury, seeing the opportunity to gain back a chance to fight against the Rangers, decides to rescue Poisandra right at the moment that Sledge comes into the room. And at that point, Sledge offers him a chance. Then, following this, Poisandra has to take over for the chores, and Fury has to go out and fight the Rangers. So then, following this, we end up seeing our Rangers viewing a musical performance from a group that came from New Zealand. One character in particular that seems to be focused a lot more on in that scene is Chase. Why, you may wonder? Well, following that whole entire dancing performance and singing performance, we end up finding out that one of the kids from that group from New Zealand is actually his sister, Chloe. Chloe seems like a nice, sweet girl. She's very young in comparison to Chase, maybe 10 or so. And what happens is that Chloe wants to go skateboarding with her older brother, Chase. The thing is that Chase is a ranger, as we know, and Chase has to do things that rangers do. So he has to bail on her even though he doesn't really want to. And he has to go out and fight Fury. And so what happens is that the Rangers go fight Fury, and Ivan's already there, which is why they even know about Fury being back. So the thing is that Fury and Ivan have like an awesome banter going when they fight. The fight scene actually looks pretty decent, and it's just an awesome little sequence until eventually the Rangers come in, which is not bad when they come in, but by comparison, prior to it, it was actually pretty, like, it looked pretty good. So, anyway, the other Rangers join in and they fight, and Fury summons his Vivixes, and then following this, a robot appears, and this robot was the one that Philip was fighting against. Now, the thing is that sorry about that. My mind's like trying to he's trying to help the Rangers fight against Fury. And so the thing is that when he starts to use this robot, no one has any idea where this robot came from and what's up with it. It's trying to help, but it's pretty unsuccessful when it comes to fighting against the Rangers. So they just kind of try what they can to fight Fury and the Vivixes. Eventually, the Vivixes and Fury disappear, and then it's revealed that then Chase has to go find his sister and go hang with her, while in the meantime the Rangers have to figure out where this robot came from, which they find out not long after was made by Prince Philip, and Philip and the Rangers get to talk to the prince, get to talk to each other. And he explains his reasoning for coming and how he's trying to fight them or whatever. And following this, what happens is that the Rangers begin. We then get to see that the Vivixes are trying to steal Philip's robot. So, because that's Fury's plan, at least. So then what happens is that he takes the robot, and they don't manage to take it back. So what happens is that Fury manages to escape with it, and at that point we end up seeing up in space that up in space that what do you call it? Wrench manages to reprogram the robot so that the remote control aspect is removed, and so that they can program it to attack the Rangers specifically. So, and not only that, but the attack systems get improved significantly, and things just in general improve. So then, following this, we end up seeing Coda and Prince Philip talking to each other. Obviously, if you remember from the earlier episode when they saved Prince Philip, it was revealed that what do you call it? That it was shown that Coda saved Prince Philip in the past, so it made sense for them to talk. And he mentions how he got his power, Coda mentions how he was a caveman and all that, and how he got his power, and how he had to show a good heart, and he had to prove himself and be worthy or whatever. And so at that point, showing kindness and having a good heart intrigued the prince. So then at that point, the prince decided to supply the museum with food, more fossils, and eventually starts to even open up a new playground and gives wheelchairs to hospitals nearby, trying to hopefully get the power of the graphite energem. Unfortunately, none of that works, and he realizes that just simple acts like that aren't going to do him any good. So at that point, he's not really sure what to do. He eventually, though, goes to the Rangers and talks to them and tells them that this whole entire time he had been trying to unleash, to get the power of the energem and use it and help the Rangers out and be a Ranger with them, but he realizes that it wasn't working, and he thinks he's not meant to be a Ranger, which basically is assumed. So he ends up giving the energem to Tyler, which doesn't really last long, because seconds later Philip's robot and Fury and some other monsters come to fight fight the Rangers. So at that point, the Energem falls to the ground, and actually falls into like a pot, and that's where it's left for a while until eventually the Rangers begin to fight against Fury and the robot. Not long into this fight, Chloe appears. I forgot to mention that. Right. So there's this point where we see Chase. Yeah, it was right before that. There was this point eventually that we see Chase and what do you call it? Yeah, Chase and Chloe skateboarding or whatever. It's going well, but eventually there's a call from a ranger signal or whatever. So then Chase has to go back, and that's when that whole entire conversation happens. So anyway, Chloe originally wanted to give her brother something, so she ends up going after her brother when he ends up going on whatever he was doing, ranger stuff. And so the thing is that when she gets there at a wrong time. Now the thing is that he isn't morphed, so she has no idea that he's a ranger. First of all, I want to make that clear. So it's not one of those episodes where it's like, oh, someone in the family finds out that so and so is a ranger. Like, it's not one of those things. So anyway, what happens is that Chloe almost gets attacked by the robot and also the Vivixes, and eventually when this fight scene happens, the prince is put into safety, as you may have expected, seeing as to how he was the prince, and he's royalty, so they want to protect him. The thing is that when she's in danger, seeing the opportunity to protect someone and save someone, Prince Philip springs to the rescue of Chloe, saves her, brings her to a safe area, and then Chase appears because Chase wasn't able to actually rescue her because he was busy fighting other Vivixes. And he really wanted to, but he couldn't. So eventually he's very grateful to Prince Philip, and he is so happy that Chloe's still alive and it's all good, and no damage came to her. So following this, the graphite energem begins to react. Fury at first sees it, and he is immediately drawn to it and notices, wait, there's another energem. I could get that one. I could prove to Sledge that I am worthy. I can prove to Sledge that I am great. And he knows that it's there. But then, right as it begins to float up, it instantly draws itself to Prince Philip, and immediately it goes into his hand. At that point, Prince Philip has the bonds with the graphite energem, and he gains the graphite ranger's powers, and he's able to unleash the power like all the other rangers. Following this, all 7 rangers get the chance to morph together, and it is a cool sequence, and it is nice to see 7 rangers. There isn't much of them as a group of 7 in this episode, all morphed, but it's still pretty cool. But anyway, what happens is that as the Graphite Ranger, Philip gets to fight his robot and eventually gets to destroy it. And in the meantime, the Rangers get to Coda and Ivan specifically get to fight Fury and some other monsters. Following this, what happens is that eventually, one thing that we haven't seen really at all is that the Vivixes get to combine together into their giant monster form and become huge. At that point, that's when it's a moment where you would think that the T-Rex would be summoned, but the thing is that the Vivix monster ends up attacking Tyler and leaves him in a situation where he can't use it apparently. So at that point, Prince Philip is signaled by Kendall to use his Zord, which is the Pocky Zord, and at that point, the Pocky Zord does get summoned, and the Pocky Zord gets to destroy those Vivix monsters, and even helps Prince Philip destroy his robot. So eventually, he actually gets to do a special attack as well, which is pretty cool. So following this, the robot gets destroyed completely, and the Vivix monsters, there's 2, get destroyed as well, and it's pretty much a good thing overall. And we see our 7 Rangers all happy to see the Zord and see that Prince Philip was able to save the day. Then back in their base. Then following this, we see that Chloe has to go back home to New Zealand. But at that point, Chloe gives Chase the gift that she wanted to give him before, which is actually tickets to go to New Zealand in Christmas, so that Chase can visit his sister Chloe and his mother for Christmas. So he's very happy, and Chase gives Chloe a big hug and puts her into the car that would bring her to New Zealand. Following this, we see the Rangers in the base talking, where Prince Philip is talking to Keeper and the Rangers about like how by doing what he did, he was able to gain the powers rather than just doing good deeds, and how it meant something, and how if they ever needed him, he would come, but otherwise they can use his Zord when they want to. So overall, it was just a nice moment, and he leaves at that point, and so that happens. So anyway, it's a nice moment, and the episode basically ends there. Personally, I'll tell you this much right now: I liked it a lot. I wish, though, that we had a little bit more time to see our Graphite Ranger and a little bit more of him and his Zord, but I'm sure we'll get it soon. But, we'll see. I just liked the episode. I liked how his character changed over time, and he had an interesting personality, and I just, in general, liked him. And I really felt that he was a lot more of an interesting character in this episode than he was the first episode we saw him. So, yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode too. I'm not sure. I'm guessing a good number of you have probably seen it already. But if you have the chance, leave a comment below telling me what you thought of it when you saw it. Did you like it? And what do you hope to see in the next episode? And just stay tuned for the future episodes that will come out. I'm looking forward to episode 16 for sure. There's obviously a break in between the Graphite Ranger and that episode, which I kind of expected. So that's about it. So anyway, guys, I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.